Michael Williams Reardon,
Here.
PJ Keeler,
Here.
Chris Harris,
Here.
Luann, and I didn't get your last name, Luann.
Toth, T-O-T-H.
Okay, and then I have a Katie.
I'm here.
And Katie, what's your last name?
Pagano. Paul, A-G.
Okay, and I have a Sean.
Yes, Sean Viana, and it's V as in Victor, I-A-N-A.
Okay, and am I missing anybody that's on?
Bill Gerlach's here.
Oh yeah, I forgot Bill. Sorry, Bill.
I'll let you were trying to
Not
get
too many people forget Bill.
Okay, so if everybody could just mute their devices now, and the chairman, if you want to start.
Okay, we're going to get started with the meeting. I'm going to turn it over to PJ Keeler, who administers our workers' comp fund. So PJ, do you want to sort of
Okay, thanks, Matt.
do an introduction?
Yep, sure. I asked to have this insurance meeting because our workers' comp policy is due, it expires on August 1st of this year. We had a 3-year policy with 2 one-year extensions. We had a contract with our third-party administrator, which is USI. So I started reaching out and started looking for a broker that could help us in trying to define the policies and trying to do RFPs before this policy expires. And I came across Marshall and Sterling, who approached us. They've helped us with a few other instances within the county, and they've been a broker for workers' comp policies for many years for many counties. So I've asked them to come and explain to the committee what their services are and what they have to offer. So I'll turn it over to them. I'm not sure who's going to speak first.
PJ, I'm going to take it from here, and then what we'll do is we have a short agenda. We'll give you guys the Reader's Digest version because I know you're all very busy. Thank you again for taking out time of your busy schedule. I hope this meeting finds all of you healthy and safe during these crazy times. To PJ's point, yes, this is Bill Gerlach, and I just wanted to let you know that Sean and I approached PJ earlier in the year, and we talked about becoming the broker of record. It seems to us that the current provider that you have, they're a mega agency, and you've been basically merged and acquired into that relationship through the old days of Hudson River Bank to First Niagara, and First Niagara into Key Bank, and then Key Bank sells it out to USI. So as a Hudson Valley company headquartered in Poughkeepsie, we've been around since 1864, and we went to PJ with a message to say that we could represent you as the broker of choice, broker of record. And what we would do is we would use our leverage. We have a relationship with over 200 carriers. As you know, we're up and down the river. We have a strong presence here in New York. We do business in all 50 states and the Virgin Islands. And we basically wanted to convey to PJ if we took this process to the markets, which we think we can do better than anybody in the local market to represent you because of the leverage that we have with our carriers. Just to let you know, your current carrier, Selective, we have a multi-million-dollar relationship with. So what I'm going to do is hand off to Luann Toth, who is our market manager, and what will happen as the process. And then after the process, we'll talk a little bit to Katie in regards to our risk management, which is a value add that I don't know what you're receiving now from your current broker of record, but I think Katie will inform you what she will bring to the table to assist the county with loss control. And then I'm going to wrap it up by letting Sean talk a little bit about our large relationships up and down the river here in the muni and government arena. And then we can do some Q&As. So I just want to let you know what would happen if we were assumed the broker of choice. We would be able to reach out to Selective. Right now, we can't do that because we are not the ones that are in ownership of the relationship. But we would go back to Selective and we would start an application process that I would start on my end. And then I would take that and I would hand off to Luann. And without further any more ado, maybe Luann, you could have an idea. You give them a little idea what you do with that information and who you plan to talk to. Okay? You there, Luann?
I'm sorry, I had to unmute my phone. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
Yes, once I get the application from Bill, obviously review it to make sure all the payroll and the information is correct on that. And then what I would do is I would market it out to several different carriers that we have relationships with, that we've had for over a number of years and everything, to get you the best possible pricing that we can get, and just to make sure that the coverages are there before it comes up for renewal in August. And then what we would also need too is we would need loss runs to review, and what that would entail is just getting a signed letter from you, and we can submit it directly through to Selective to have us get the loss runs. They would send them to you because we would need that to send to the carriers that we would be marketing it out to.
Yeah, that's great, Luann. And I just want to add, Luann's already sent me notes on about 15 carriers that she's talking to about this opportunity. So, obviously with a relationship this size, we engage our marketing managers, and Luann is our marketing manager for our Leeds office and our Kingston office. And she would be directly going to those carriers. And she's already started doing some footwork on this. So thank you, Luann, for that. Next up, Katie Pagano. You want to talk to him a little bit about our risk management department in Poughkeepsie, Katie?
Absolutely. I'm Katie Pagano. I'm director of the Loss Control Division for Marshall & Sterling. It's nice. We have a designated division that works with our larger clients very closely, those that need and want the service that are willing to take advantage of it. So typically, everybody's different. With being a municipality and a county, we'd sit down with you all, the different divisions, different departments, conduct assessments within each, see what you already have in place in terms of a safety program, committees, trainings, inspections, documentation, a full assessment of everything, just so there aren't any gaps, there aren't any areas that fall through the cracks. If there's improvements to be made, whatever they may be, like I said, that we want to keep you in compliance. We want to keep everyone safe. We want to keep your losses down and, your pockets full if possible. So we do that. We go through a full assessment, as I said, identify where there's a need. We review losses, identify trends. We'll be a part of a safety committee. If you don't have one, we help create one and take an active role in that. We really, if you will, become an extension, of our insureds, of the county. We work with you, we work for you. We really like to team up and make sure that there's a lot of open communication. So if there's something going on with you guys, if someone's injured, if there's questions, or whatever it is out there, we want to make sure that we're on top of that you're getting the proper service, that all the controls are in place that are necessary. And that you guys don't get hit with any surprises, whether, it be from some other federal agency or from your carrier. We want to stay proactive with our insureds and keep them on the up and up. We also do work with carriers quite closely on many of our accounts. Selective is actually a carrier we work with on a lot of our accounts. So we'll team up with the carriers if they're going out to insureds to do inspections or walkthroughs. We try and prepare you ahead of time so there's no surprises from the carriers as well, and make you look the best as possible in the eyes of the carriers. So they want to write the business. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. We have a lot of in-house resources in terms of, electronic databases and things of that sort on the safety end. But we also have myself as well as another loss control specialist that are qualified OSHA instructors authorized by OSHA, I'll be teaching New York State Department, or excuse me, defensive driving, amongst other things. We have a nice menu of so, I guess that's it. As I said,
well, thank you, Katie. And I'm sure as you heard Katie speaking, you guys that are intimately involved in the operations day to day in the county, you know where your pain spots are and where you would maybe need to engage Katie's team. I'd like to introduce Sean now. Sean, do you want to talk a little bit about our relationships? Here in the local market.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Bill. And thank you everybody for your time this afternoon. Marshall & Sterling, as Bill mentioned, is a large organization, but we do have a lot of local representation up and down the Hudson Valley, and the number of municipalities that we insure on towns, villages, and cities is frankly a long list. I have right here, and I don't know if you can see it. I can certainly make this available to you, but that's simply a list of all of the towns and villages and cities, as I say, that we currently insure. We also insure 5 counties. We insure Greene, Schenectady, Orange, Rockland, and Saratoga. So we have a good handle, we believe, on the municipal business and exposures, and we have multiple programs that we can provide, including something similar to yours, where you have a third-party administrator involved. And it's just something that we have a full focus on. So when I talk about the counties that we insure, Schenectady County, we have insured for over 30 years. Greene County, we have insured for over 25 years. And we think that those relationships have just been really strong for us. We've been there for those many years just because of the level of service I think that we can provide, both from a loss control standpoint and just the service of your operation in general. So, and I'm sorry, I don't know if I mentioned that we insure Rockland County as well through an excess workers' comp program. So these are all areas that, as I said, we feel we have a lot of expertise in. We have individuals that know how to handle the business. We have the relationships with the carriers, as Bill mentioned previously. And we look for the opportunity to really become the broker of services for Columbia County, and to do our best to show you what we can do.
Thank you, Sean, very much. So that is what we wanted to discuss with you folks this afternoon. Would you? I'll open it up now if you have any questions for any of us.
Bill, it's PJ. Just the one question I've had, and I think I've approached this before. What about the fees involved for the broker? Where are they going to be located?
Sean, do you want to address that? Because one of the things we wanted to get a handle on, PJ, is to look at your current program, and we talked about that. We can do that anytime. Because we certainly want to match or outperform what you're currently doing. But that said, I'll let Sean talk to you about how this could be structured. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah. So no problem. So the way we work with our other counties is we sit down and really review the services that you're going to be required. You're going to require of us. We come up with a dollar value that we think is both reasonable and is going to create the value for you to be able to give you the services that you're going to be requiring. So it is on a fee basis. So it's not a traditional as we work with your standard type business or Main Street type business where we just receive a commission from a carrier. We work through a fee process with you. I'm not sure if that answered your question, PJ, but
You can make a good politician. Yes, it does. It really does. I assume that you probably have a menu of services, and there's probably a fee associated for whatever services we would require. Is that correct?
that is correct. That's exactly right.
All right. So how do we determine that ahead of time?
Well, we would sit down and then, as we would do this and go through your renewal process on an annual basis, we review all the services on an annual basis as well. And then we would come to an agreement on that dollar amount before anything, anything really went into effect as far as the policy themselves.
Yeah, but we'd like to see how you're structured right now and what you're used to, PJ, because I have no idea what you've been receiving and what you've been charged by the incumbent.
Okay.
What we would do is model a lot of what we do because of the type of exposures that you have and the types of policy, be something very similar to what we do with the other counties that we represent. So again, without getting into a straight dollar specific amount, we would show you what we have and what we offer the various counties and municipalities that we currently represent to come up with a framework for our fee.
And that fee would be on top of whoever the carrier is, correct? It's a separate fee?
Correct.
This is Art Basson. I guess what I'm thinking is your fee plus whatever the premium is from the carrier, we would have to compare with what we're paying today. And presumably we'll be paying the carrier less because they're not paying you a commission. Is that a fair statement?
And again, without knowing the current program that you have now, and I don't know, PJ, are you guys paying a fee now to USI, or is that just totally transparent and what they get from Select?
We pay a separate fee, correct?
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's like $2 a month.
Plus mailing, plus shipping and handling.
Correct. All right. So I guess the point of this is we obviously would need to sit down, come up with a structure to see what services we're requiring now before we could come up with this fee, correct? In the meantime, you could certainly, if we did bring you on board, you could certainly go out and start searching for carriers once we get the information to you.
That's correct.
Is the fee based on, I realize you have to know what services that we want, but is this fee based on how many employees we have? Is it based on, what is it based on? I mean, we are smaller than all the other counties that you mentioned, correct?
I believe you are, yes. Yeah.
So
I think
So it's not really based on number of employees. It's not based off of the premium. It's really based off, again, what services we're going to agree to provide you. And we come up with as I said, a number that we feel is fair and yet provides the value that you're seeking.
So then a service that Saratoga's receiving and we want to receive the same service in Columbia County, it would be a similar fee structure. Is that fair to say?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And I think to Rob's point, though, I think perhaps you guys would be larger than Greene County. That would be my guess. But yes.
Is
And
there
what
some,
we could do
is there
to
some
the P-
example
to
of
PJ's
a
point-
service? Like what on a workers' comp policy would be a service provided, like handling claims, filling out forms? What services would be provided?
Part of it would be the the loss control services that would be provided by Katie and her division, and then the rest would be depending again on what type of program you currently have in place. As I understand that, you're dealing right now with Selective as Selective being the third party administrator of the program. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay. So again, we would coordinate that all with Selective. And again, assuming, I'm not saying that at this point that the coverage would and the carrier would be maintained as Selective. We're going to look at other options for you to see what makes most sense and present those options based on the needs that you have and the type of program that works best for you. It could be strictly again an excess type policy, or it could be a first dollar. It could be something that just has a simple retention to it, what we call self-insured retention to it. These are all things that we want to be able to discuss and present to you for the best option for the county.
So in terms of the insurance premium itself, there's going to be a baseline premium for compliance. And then you would have add-ons for additional services that would be provided by the third-party service provider.
Correct.
And do I understand correctly that there are many fewer workmen comp providers in New York State than there were, say, 10 years ago, and that
I don't know if that would be true as a general statement. It really does depend on the type of exposure, type of risk that we're looking at. Obviously, a municipality is different than a school district. The school district is different than a manufacturer or a contractor, so on and so forth. So all those being different, some of the marketplace has changed, but I would say that fewer workers' comp carriers as a general statement, I'm not sure that I would totally agree with that.
And I think it's important to keep in mind that we would identify through communications with you folks where your current pain points are. I don't know if it's at DPW or at the Sheriff's Department or all of the above, but our service timeline and fees would be customized to where where you feel that you need to pay attention to. We would gather your feedback on that.
So are we assigned a broker or one of you individuals that would be our go-between? In other words, we decide to go with X company to be our workers' comp provider. If we had an issue, we would contact one of you.
Correct. Bill and his team in Kingston would be your primary contact.
But we wouldn't deal with the actual insurance company. We would deal with one of your individuals or Bill that would answer or help us out if we had any situation.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So if I could just maybe I could just make a suggestion. I just feel that we have a tremendous need to have a broker. We haven't had one in several years now. We've lost many components of the workers' comp program that could be a help to reducing our claims as far as education, loss control, and so on. I guess what my recommendation would be, Matt, is that I get together, if the committee so decides, that I get together with these individuals to determine what services we would require from Marshall and Sterling, to maybe come up with a fee structure, and then I could bring that back to finance on the 28th of this month, if the committee so decides.
How does the committee feel about that?
Well, just a question. I guess are we only dealing, or are we only considering Marshall and Sterling, or are we going to evaluate other potential brokers?
PJ?
Go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say, I thought you said earlier that you had already vetted a few different brokers.
I had spoken to a couple previously over the last couple of years, but did not experience the confidence that I have with Marshall and Sterling due to their extensive continuance in the state with the other counties in the workers' comp program.
Hey, Bill, can you please mute your phone? That's where the feedback's coming from. Okay, PJ.
Oh, that's better. That's a lot better.
I've spoken to a couple brokers previously over the years. I did not feel or get the impression that they have the level of expertise that Marshall and Sterling had, especially with their extensive relationship with our surrounding counties over the years. And I just felt that their level of service was well above anybody that I had ever spoken to.
But PJ, let's assume that's true. Aren't we obligated under our purchasing guidelines to do competitive bidding for anything over a certain amount of money?
Art, no, this is a professional service.
Say that again, Ron?
Correct.
It's a professional service.
Okay.
Well, I think we have to have numbers, obviously, before we can compare anything or make any sort of decisions. And until we have that, it's very hard to agree decisions, obviously.
Hey, Sean, can you mute your computer unless you got to talk? Okay. We're trying to figure out who's causing all the feedback. Sorry.
No, there's no feedback now, so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, PJ, I think you're going to do a comparison. Apples to apples.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to make a decision today, but I think if PJ can come back with that comparison, then we can have, at least some information to make a decision.
And I just want to say that whatever you need from us, we'll certainly provide it for you. And we can talk to PJ about that. But to answer everybody's questions, we just feel that we know who our competitors are in the local marketplace, and we know the needs that you folks have, and we really do believe that we're uniquely built to help you out compared to our local competition. And I just wanted to state that.
Okay. So PJ, okay, are you going to put something together? And
I will, and I'll bring it to finance. Is that what the committee would like, or do we want to reconvene as a committee? I'm not sure what you want to do.
Well, when do we set finance, Kelly?
The special finance is at 6:30.
No, the regular finance.
I'm sorry?
The regular finance.
Oh, for May is the 28th at 3:30.
What time?
3:30.
So say at 2:30, we could do an insurance committee meeting?
Okay.
So 2:30 on the 28th.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, I'll have some information by then.
Okay, thank you all for, especially Marshall and Sterling, for participating, and we'll, PJ will be contacting you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your
you.
time.
Thank you.
The
Bye.
committee, hang on so you can close out. Do you want to adjourn, Matt?
Yeah, that's
Matt,
right.
I've got a quick question. Was this
Sure.
publicly streamed?
Yes.
Okay, I wonder why we didn't do this in executive session since it was a contract negotiation pretty much.
We could have. Probably should have. Well, technically, we're not contracting with them. It was a proposal.
Well,
right?
that's true. This is just an exploratory. Well, PJ, so you'll be able
When
to
we have the
come,
meeting on the 28th, it'll be in executive session.
okay, and we'll be able to compare what Marshall and Sterling is proposing against what we currently have.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, we currently have nothing, okay? Just so you know.
Okay,
We haven't had a broker in years, okay? We've had nobody that's been able to assist us in any of these venues whatsoever. So we've been dealing strictly with a third-party administrator, and I
Yep.
think they explained in the beginning, you know, it was just a conglomeration of going from First Niagara to Key Bank to this bank to that bank, and we kind of lost the broker along the way. And we've had nobody to help us whatsoever in any kind of training, loss control, or any of the above.
So
So,
the service part of this has a value, obviously. So
you can't measure it.
I know, but we're going to compare dollar for dollar. But the service part of it has a value that may be worth spending a little bit more money, especially if in the long run you're going to get what we need out of this. So that's. I'm glad we had this quick conversation after they left.
Yeah.
There is a value added by getting a broker.
That's
so
right.
You're right. It all comes down to
dollar for
service.
dollar, as long as it's not exorbitant, it is something that adds a lot of value to the county.
so in theory, we may be paying more in upfront fees than we are now, but long-term, our workers' comp costs will go down. That's the
Correct.
bet,
And that's what I believe. We could be paying more in claims now that aren't necessary.
right?
So,
Okay.
all right,
Well,
I'll get some.
Marshall and Sterling is a first-class outfit. I've heard about them and dealt with them, and you certainly have picked the gold standard, PJ. You got good taste.
I've had the same experience with them, so I agree with Art's position there. So,
Yep.
thank you.
I'll come back
Well,
with
if anything-
finance. I'll come back to finance with some numbers. I'd like Ron, you to assist me with this when I meet with them, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Ron, it looks like you're on your yacht.
We're going to meet before it goes to finance.
You got a
Is that
county
correct?
hat on.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
We're
what I
gonna meet
think. I
an hour
noticed
before
that.
Finance.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah. So I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Rob, second. Art, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you all.
Thank you.
PJ,
Take
thank
care.
you.
Guys.
Stay
Bye-bye.
safe.
Yep.
Hey, Matt. Where'd he go? He left.